Okay, so this is a Let's Play of Pirates and Space Marines. This is my game that I made for the Absurd Aspect Ratio Game Jam. So let's get into it here. It starts off with kind of a hard rock song. Now, if you notice, it's slightly broken in a way, and what's going on there is I had to fit a certain aspect ratio, and I realized towards the end that it wasn't working, so I tried it again and finally got it working, but this is what I ended up getting, and some of the screens are broken. If you look at the logo, it's actually terrible. I went into MS Paint, I made a box, and then I put scribbles in that box, and then put a text inside of there. It's really bad. And then this is broken. It turns red, sure, when your cursor's over it, but that's it. You have to press enter to get in. So let's get into the game and see what's going on here.
Why, hello there. Now, before you even ask,
Perfect.
is this the game? I was promised pirates.
Is this the game?
Of course, this isn't the game. I'm just here to lead you there. Now, if my calculations are correct,
So now I had a player say to me that it was broken and that they couldn't move. Maybe it was more broken for them than normal, but it was meant to be so that you can't move. Like that's intended, as you can tell from the script, and that you can only look up and down,
wherever you want.
and you can't move forward, you can't move to the sides, you can only move backwards. So backwards is your only option. The reason why I did this is just to create kind of a tailored experience, and I'll just bring up the question of like, what is a game, right? So yeah, let's carry on. I mean, if you can look through here, you can see that everything is has some textures on some stretched surfaces. That's why the sides look weird. And if you look up, you will see that's glass is what that is. It's like a glass texture just on a rectangle. It's over top there. I put up a bit that says this is the end. It was kind of to be like a foreboding type thing. I don't know if it really worked out, and you also see the hallways. Those are literally just a replication of the area that you're in. So let's just carry on here. I put a couple of lamps in just for good measure to make things look a little bit nicer. And I think that's the last bit of dialogue from this level. Yeah, I think it is. So the key character I was trying to really outline was the narrator. If you've played it, you know that he becomes a little more pivotal later. It's a short game, about 5 minutes, but yeah, let's see what we got here. So yeah, as you can see now, the aspect ratio has changed again, and things get a little bit flatter. I tried to work that into the narrative a bit,
No, I'm certain it is at the end of this hallway.
and it makes more sense with the next one.
Wait you at our destination.
Yeah, so he continues to give you the promise of, the game is just around the corner. It's just in the next spot, right?
Fun, you and I.
Now, with the box that falls, it was to give you the idea of, I can move forward, and then a box goes like, oh crap, okay, I gotta turn back. And I added this dialogue. Yeah, this stuff here.
They will, you and me, best buddies.
To kind of hint at what I get into at the last couple scenes with the narrator, and maybe things aren't what he says they are, and maybe he's a little more sad and a little more fragile than you would expect. So let's keep going back. And the way I have the next level work, like the way you get to each level, is literally you fall off of the hallway, and then I have a bit of code that's checking every frame to see if your position matches a certain point. So it's looking to see, I believe, y equal to negative x. Once you go lower than that, then it's just going to shoot you to the next level. And each stage is its own level, which is a very inefficient way to do things. But it was a quick way to do things. It becomes very inefficient when you want to make more and more things. So yeah, each one is the same, and then it's the exact same level inside of each one, just with a different audio track and slightly different controls sometimes, or if I set a certain delay up for a certain amount of time. Now let's keep going, fall off the level. You can see some of the bits of the other level there. Okay.
Off here.
And the level's getting flatter and flatter.
The world keeps getting flatter.
Yeah.
Therefore, the game must be in a state of infinite flatness.
Infinite flatness. I like that. It's funny.
Oh, it's so simple. We must go onward to the next hallway, increasing our flatness. Step lively now. We're getting close. I can taste it.
He can taste it. Okay, so we'll just continue forward.
Infinite flatness.
Oh, and there you are.
Well, there goes that theory. Let's just
And I've locked the controls again now.
we didn't introduce ourselves. Now you're probably wondering.
So now this is set up a little more exposition, I guess.
Interesting question is who are you?
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, I'd call you Stanley, but that sounds like a lawsuit.
If you haven't guessed, the Stanley was based on the Stanley Parable, which, I mean, if you haven't played it, it's a pretty big inspiration for this game. I follow it pretty closely. I wasn't sure what name I was going to go with for the character. I ended up picking John Stamos, but when I asked Kevin, he wanted me to go with Gabe, like Gabe Newell. I thought that would have been funny too, but John Stamos just, he definitely won. Now, if we look down here, you will see that things are flickery and really weird. What's going on is there's multiple pieces trying to occupy the same space, so they're kind of flickering in and out because I literally copy and pasted this section of hallway again and again and again, and just stuck the two together. So that's why, there's that weird angle bit. That's literally just a hunk of wall sticking through another hunk of wall. Like it's not meant entirely to be like that. I wanted to get rid of it, but Kevin thought the jankiness added to the weird dreamlike scape of this area. So, I mean, yeah, that's why that looks like that. And he's been trying to talk me into making it a little nicer, making the level itself look nicer because it looks bad. I mean, it's a texture stretched out over rectangles and it doesn't look good. It's got like baked in lighting. The shadow effects aren't great. And maybe releasing that and then selling it. And I'm kind of shying away from something like that. There's a couple other projects that I want to work on and some big stuff that I hope to get out towards the end of the month. And a big reason as part of that too is that this was all made in Unity, and I'm switching over to Unreal, and the sooner I can start to switch over to Unreal, the better. So I guess I could port this over and make it all again, but I don't know if I'd want to do that because I made it in about 6 hours, maybe a little less, and I'm not that emotionally attached to it. I think I can do better, and I think this was a good stepping stone or a good learning piece for me to go. So I'd rather not get too hung up on it and just kind of make it and carry on and try and make something better the next time. So let's follow the level here.
Oh, this is fun now, isn't it?
Cool. Now, if you notice, we're actually moving slower.
Going backwards.
And the reason why I did that is so that it syncs up with the dialogue better. I could have made the level itself longer, but I wanted them all to be the exact same kind of length. I don't know, because one of my favorite movies is Groundhog Day. And I think something about that's great is that it's always the same. And the only thing that changes is you and your perception of things, or Bill Murray in that case, I guess. But in this case, it's you and your understanding of this world around you. And if you notice when you fall off, I had duplications of the hallway just everywhere, because one of my favorite movies also is Inception. And I love the way that the world kind of flips in on itself. And you can see the roads and everything. I just thought it looked really cool. So I thought it'd be cool to do that. And underneath this hallway is the flip version of this hallway. And I mean, this whole hallway concept is also taken from Inception, where they're having that really cool fight in the hallway and you see it from a bunch of different angles. But I wanted not to have the player see it from a bunch of different angles. I just wanted them to kind of see it from a different angle when they're falling, when they're in that purgatory state or whatever you want to call it. There was a little bit of talk of having you enter each level like fading in. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't do that because it would have taken more time to do it. But I also like the falling down because it's like you're going deeper and deeper into this kind of rabbit hole, right? And if you wait towards the end, you'll find out that you really have gotten nowhere at all. So let's keep moving forward and see if we can progress the plot a little bit here.
Oh, we're getting close now, John.
Oh, there we are.
This next world, I know this next world is the game for sure.
This next world. He's still very optimistic, even though
Going back,
you find out later that he's lying to you. And he knows he's lying to you.
such an adventure.
Anyway. Okay, so we'll carry on. See if we can see something when we come out here. Maybe get you a little shot of something. Even though it's so thin, maybe we get... Yeah, you can see a little bit there.
You know what? Stop
Okay.
Just stop
And the music's been stopped.
Maybe there is no game. How would
So now he's starting to come clean with you a little bit.
There's no shame in that. We could just walk backwards forever.
Forever.
What if there was no game?
I like the glass because it... oh, shit.
I'm gonna
Ah,
stop
whatever.
you right here, John. I got
So now this is the emotional turn towards the end of the game where you start to learn a little more about the narrator.
you will be able to move forward. And to be totally honest, the game has been in front of you this whole time.
And that's me talking directly to the player there. I mean, the game has been in front of you the whole time.
I'm here constantly leading people to the game.
Yeah,
They're never here
yeah.
for me. They just want the game. But my feelings aside, you're the player, and you are in control. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
you the right to choose. Do you want to forge onward and enjoy the game that's been in front of you this whole time, or will you walk backward with me forever, John?
So now, when I started this project, I just wanted it to be goofy, and I wanted to, I wrote it in probably about 20 minutes just on a notepad there, and I wanted it to be a silly, fun experience. And as I was getting towards the end of it, I guess my my own insecurities really started to seep into this script, and I really started to, at least a facet of myself is in this character, I think, and it may be a fear of being alone. Maybe feeling like people don't want you for you, they want you for what you can create. Or, I don't know, maybe that sounds really pretentious. But anyway, so the movement forward is actually a quarter of the movement backwards. It's just make it a little more impactful. And when your head's kind of bobbing up and down, this slight bob there. It was to make it more of an emotional moment when you're trying to move forward. But let's go backwards because there is another scene here that I quite like, that he's very appreciative of you staying because it's like trying to understand, right? So let's go back and get that.
Thank you, John Stamos.
And here we are.
I appreciate your friendship. Not many players choose to stay with me. As your reward, you may walk forward and play the game you've always wanted.
That's such a lie of a line.
Go ahead, John.
Because when you finally get forward and you get to where you want to go, it just starts the game again. So, I guess you could also dispute, is it a game? It doesn't have a win state, it doesn't have a lose state, it's an experience. I guess it's kind of like an interactive movie. I don't really like this aspect ratio. It's so small. Honestly, I picked the aspect ratios at random and just threw them together. If I had more time, I definitely would have made more thoughtful decisions as to when to go to certain aspect ratios. I did at the beginning, but I was a little rushed towards the end because I probably got it within, an hour left, but I had to go some places, so on my time schedule, it was probably 2 minutes left, so it was tight getting it in there. But now your player can only move forward. You can't move backwards, can't move to the sides or anything. You only have the option of moving forward now to get to the box, and this will transport you to the beginning of the level. So it's similar to the thing that sends you forward to the next level. It checks your position, and if you exceed a certain X position, then it's going to transfer you to a different level entirely. So we can go there. So let's just move forward, nice and slow with this kind of emotional music. I really like the last track for the other level. I used it for like a video poem thing that I did that obviously didn't go up on this channel. It wouldn't quite be the appropriate spot for it. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good bit of music there. And then we're back to the beginning again, and the game starts itself over, similar to Groundhog Day. So this is my game about Pirates and Space Marines. Definitely a misleading title, but I don't know. It was meant to be a goofy experience, like I said, but something came out of there that it's definitely a piece of me, and maybe the weirder side of it. Like, a player played it, and at least as far as I know, he was telling the truth. He said it made him cry, and I didn't expect that until Kevin picked up on the fact that it could have something to do with loneliness and not wanting to be by yourself. I mean, the narrator is kind of desperate in the way that he's talking to you. You know, he wants you to be here for him. He needs you, you know, and I don't know if that's a total reflection of myself. It's definitely a piece of that, I guess. I don't know. That's just something I like about creating games. You can take a piece of yourself that you think is you and put that in there, and it's you know, you may get a lot of people saying that they don't like it or that they don't get it or whatever, but I don't know, if someone gets it, I guess it just means a lot. And it's kind of a cool moment when that happens. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is just a silly game where a narrator calls you John Stamos and you just walk backwards forever. And it's stupid. Which is part of the reason why I don't want to remake it. But I'm happy that I did make it. I'm happy that I entered my first jam. I mean, I got totally destroyed, sure. The other guys, they did a great job. And I think if I had have fixed up the aspect ratio a little bit and made the level a little bit nicer, I could have done better. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not about winning at all. It was my first one, and it's good to get into an experience like that. Now, moving forward with this channel, I'm next week, I'm going to be doing a Let's Play kind of commentary of an unfinished game. So we'll be running around through Unity, and I'll be showing you some of the stuff that I'm working on in there and some of the assets. It's that Hangover game I was talking about a couple weeks ago. That's definitely going to be just straight funny. I may not finish that game, I'm not sure, because of, like I said, the switch to Unreal. I'd rather make that sooner than later, and especially regarding one of the bigger projects that I want to have for this channel towards the end of the month, of something that I haven't seen anyone else do it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good idea. It just means that it's close to being an original idea, and, you know, that intrigues me. So I'm excited to do something like that, because making games, I should say, has become kind of a big part of my life over this summer. You know, a big way of expressing myself used to be through music. I played guitar for quite a while, and then something happened, and then I started singing. And I like that quite a bit. And then I started making movies, or videos, I should say. I've made movies for a long time, but I started doing it more religiously with Kevin, and like all the time. And sure, they're not all good, but, you know, we've made about 160 videos so far. So over the past year. So we do it quite a lot, and that's become a good way of expressing myself. And over the summer, you know, then I picked up games, and I'm starting to kind of put a little bit of me into games. Because if you played my first game that came out on mobile, it was Space Diver. It was an arcade game, something I don't even like. And there was really none of me in there. Yeah, I made the soundtrack for it. It was just some crappy EDM kind of thing. But there wasn't really much of me in there. And I'm really happy to start to bring the creation of games into videos. So, you know, kind of like a double way of expressing myself. So, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Let me know if you're interested in more things like this moving forward. I'm going to put them up somewhere. I'd like to put it on the channel because I think we have a good group here and a really interesting group of people to kind of bounce ideas off of, and really supportive and nice to talk to. But if that's something you're not interested in, I'll put it somewhere else, and that's fine. That's totally understandable. But yeah, just let me know. And I'm excited to do some cool projects in the future. Okay, bye guys.